Great experience. Ellen?
Yeah, Mo. Talk about how you juxtapose your natural landscape work with the industrial landscape there, because I thought that was really interesting. How you talk about that?
Yeah, so when I look back on my photos, what? Oh, the question, how do I explain juxtaposition of the landscape with the architectural motifs in Mongolia? Well, I actually love industrial photography, but what I got there was the industrial, the nature, and they clash. So there's foul air everywhere, and the water isn't drinkable, and that's the landscape. You know, the factories are burning coal, and coal you see everywhere. Even the temple had a pile of coal, and behind it that was 2 stories high, just lumps of coal. So you'll see in my photographs in the back that it's very much about the landscape, but there are the smokestacks, and it's just you know, a message, however you want it to be. And I don't want to reflect badly on the, you know, on the Chinese. I really, you know, they're trying to do the best they can, and the people in Inner Mongolia, they're really great, very welcoming, and there's a very traditional kind of Mongolian culture there, which you'll see if you look through the print bin. You'll see it was a very beautiful experience. So, I've said enough.
The trip of a lifetime. Do look through her work in the bin by the gallery sales table, as well as the exhibit in McMahon Gallery. And speaking of sales, that we know that everyone here is going to find that photograph that they can't live without for their office or their home. We have a gallery sales table at that end of the curved wall here in the Polly Addison space. Those are the go-to people. When you find that piece of art that you just have to take home, well, you won't take it home with you tonight. It has to stay in the exhibit, but when the exhibit comes down on April 19th, you will be able to have that in your life. So please consider that. And our next photographer is Paula Sussman. She's a Boulder treasure as well. And Paula is an award-winning photographer. She brings a ridiculously eclectic background to her work, including a harrowing stint as a stand-up comic who enters as a tap-dancing chicken, and so I want to know more about that. Dubbed fantastical photography by a New York Post critic, her work may more accurately be described as Sussman-esque. Please welcome Boulder's Paula Sussman.
They were originally going to put a curtain up to protect my work from the innocent. Oh, protect the innocent from my work. But they didn't. I think my journey of the neurotic alphabet started, the tone was set when Mary, my tireless curator, came over to first meet me and look at my work, and one of us got the dates wrong, and I was lounging around in my pajamas watching television, and she showed up, and she liked it and encouraged me to submit the work to the dairy, which doesn't seem like I seem like the enfant terrible of tonight's proceedings, let's put it that way. I don't work anything like anybody else. I do use a camera. I happen to use a film camera with film in it. But I don't walk around looking for something interesting and exciting and beautiful to take a picture of. If I did, you'd probably wonder where I was hanging out. But what I do is I make up the whole idea of the picture, and then I storyboard it, I cast it with characters, I collect costumes and props, and I use all my things that I collect, and I get additional ones, and I really, you know, I make sure that the detail is there. There isn't really anything in any of my photographs that I'm not aware of and that I didn't do intentionally. So I'm going to take you behind the scenes of some of them. And they are, in fact, scenes. They're like one-frame movies, or more accurately, a theater piece, a picture of a moment in theater. So let's look at Ariel. Ariel Alvarez accomplishes autoerotic asphyxiation amidst apocalyptic arpeggios a la accordion. Alas. Which might make you think that he didn't have such a great result from doing what he was doing. This, just by coincidence, is the first letter of the alphabet, A, which I did. And I just happened to do it, and I gave it a title. And it wasn't until years later that I decided to do the entire alphabet, and I used this as A. I did not have an accordion, although the person living downstairs for me had one in his closet. I didn't know that, so I whipped out the yellow pages. That's how old this picture is. And I looked up music schools, and I found an accordion school, and made a deal with the man who was in charge of it, and he lent me the accordion. I took a picture in 3D of him in a tree holding his accordion. You can't tell right now, but the reason that the color is the way it is because the original is a hand-colored silver print, which I copied with a 4x5 and then printed as a C print. And I painted on some fishnet stockings as well. And I think his fistulas on his arms kind of give it you kind of wonder what he went through that might have led him to this kind of extreme kink. Okay, let's look at Greased. This is Greased, Girdled, and Gagged. Gilda gets the group grope going. I'm always particularly excited when I get to incorporate more than one little erotic situation in my work. So I had the girdle. My girlfriend told me I could use her pool, and I decided to go for kind of a Helmut Newton feel. You know how the women are always draped around the pool. And there's always some big dog standing by ambiguously. And so I had the girdle, and I had the people, and I did not have the dog. So I asked the people who I take water aerobics with, the Yakinientas, I said, does anybody have a Great Dane or know someone who has a Great Dane? And the woman who is playing Gilda over here, coincidentally, says to me, do you mind if it only has 3 legs? And I said, do I mind? So there they are, and believe me, the woman whose rear end is showing insisted on taking her clothes off. There's very little nudity in my alphabet. Oh, and one thing I do, I have a theater background, and a lot of my pictures are kind of approached from a proscenium viewpoint, straight on. And I also use a camera primarily which has a huge wide-angle lens, and the depth of field is from here to infinity. And the reason I do that is because I don't want anything out of focus. I don't want it to look like a photograph. I'd rather, as I said before, have it appear to be a scene from either reality or a theater set. And so that's how, because there are several layers in this particular picture that they're all in focus. And the dog is in focus, he's just shaking his head. But he knows what's in store. I don't know. Lasciviously lollygagging, Lydia listens for lurkers. So once again, I incorporated 2 things. She's self-pleasuring, which, as it turns out, there are several pieces in the alphabet on this subject. I really didn't know until I was writing notes for my my artist talk on the 20th, and I was just going through each of them, and I thought, man, I don't understand. I mean, that's if you're not counting inanimate objects. So there's several of them. So this one was a little bit of, it predated Photoshop, and actually everything predates Photoshop because I don't know how the hell to use Photoshop. So I had to think of another way to get this picture going, and it's got several layers to it, and finally I had the final picture set up tabletop, and I copied that with a 4x5 and printed it. So that's lasciviously lollygagging. So those are a few of the pieces I did, and does anyone have any questions? Comments, dirty remarks? Yes?
After I helped hang it and look at and do the labels for your exhibit, I had a chance to really study each of your photographs, and I felt uplifted by them. I felt like the sexual feelings from them were fun now and not something to really weigh you down or feel embarrassed about. So I want to thank you for liberating my sexual.
Write that down and I can carry it around in my back pocket. I'm thrilled to hear that that's the reaction you had, because that's what I'm going for. Thank you very much. Anybody else?
Other questions? I know you're all dying to get back there into McMahon Gallery and look at this exhibit, so thank you so much, Paula. I'll also give her a plug. She mentioned that she's doing an artist talk. She will be doing her own more lengthy artist talk on March 20th. And you can read about that on our website and also ask questions of Paula or me during the reception tonight. I neglected to add one other thing that is quite impressive about her bio too when I was introducing her. She has work included in the History of Photography collection at the Harvard University Archives. And all of our folks here tonight are pretty darn impressive. Then last but not least, a lot of you folks that came here because you are connected with the Land Through the Lens exhibit. For those of you who don't know about that exhibit, back in March, we collaborated, the Boulder County Parks and Open Space and the Darius Center collaborated to put together a call for entry to encourage people to get out, experience, enjoy, embrace the open space lands of Boulder County. There are over 97,000 acres of open space in Boulder County, and it includes agricultural land and woodland and a lot of waterways and just some incredible spaces. And the goal was to get people out, take photographs, take a look at those photographs of the wide variety, and the exhibit is juried. We selected 109 to be included in this very dense exhibit on the Polyaddison walls. People tended to print a little bigger than I expected. There are a few of the third and the fourth images by some of the artists here that are back in the Bodecker Cinema area too, so do wander back there also to see that work. I'm looking for Karen Imbirowitz, who was, okay, Karen, would you come on up for a moment? This is Karen Imbirowitz with Boulder County Parks and Open Space, and she's going to say a couple of words about the competition. I will tell you that when we adjourn the talks, begin the reception about 20 minutes in at 5:20, we'll be grabbing the microphone again and announcing award winners. And I'm sure you're all anxious to hear that and know if you want a prize, want some cash. So Karen, would you like to talk about this?
I just want to say to all of you who participated in the Land Through the Lens and submitted your photos for consideration, we appreciate your involvement. We hope that people will continue to go out and take photos of our parks and open space land and enjoy it in that way. We know that a lot of people mountain bike and hike and run on our trails, and it's a really great chance for the county to acknowledge artists, the artist user. So there's not a lot left to say. I think we should just clean up the chairs here, and so everyone can look around. There's so many photos of so many different things. And just thank you very much for your participation. And I hope you'll stick around for a little bit and wait for the prize winners to be announced. Thanks for coming.
So a couple more things. Again, I want to point out the gallery sales table back there. Caitlin's heading back, Caitlin with the time cards for our speakers, heading back now to the sales table. We've got some volunteers back there who will help you also for that perfect photograph that you want to have in your life. And also back at the, right outside McMahon Gallery, there's a donation box for our visual art program here at the Dairy Center. Without the support of the public, we could not do what we do. We have a very robust visual art program, and we want to keep growing and growing, start doing more educational things like these artist talks, and please, if you like the show, consider dropping a 5 or a 10 or a 20 into that donation box. We'll truly appreciate it. Thanks so much. We're going to clear away some chairs and some great food, chocolates from Peace, Love, and Chocolate, Guillaume's Catering, some wonderful desserts, lots of goodies. So stay and enjoy.
Yeah, we gotta go there.
I waited, I said, okay, that works. I should have.
I left it. If I can have your attention really quickly, there's a People's Choice ballot box for Lens to Lens that is by the gallery sales table. So please look around, choose your favorite photograph from these two walls and back of the boat area, and cast a vote for your favorite photo.